Waiting on Dawn to get on. I did not want to come in late, so she should be here soon. I Today we are welcome to Salon Talk, and today we are going to discuss um, the four types of alopecia. Now, Dawn is going to come in with her segment of her alopecia that we both talked about, but I'm going to get into the different kinds of alopecia. And the reason that we chose this subject to speak about is the fact that a lot of times we will hear clients say, "Oh, I have alopecia," right? Say it's a new client, they come in, and I've seen it on, in different salons and things like that, where the person may say, "I have alopecia." And then when you ask them, "Oh, okay, oh, there's Don there now." No, I added her. Come on. Let's see. Hey, Don, we are on live.
Oh, my
I went ahead
apologies.
and I was like, "Can I join in?" I said, "Don will be with us shortly." You look beautiful. What's going on, Missy Pooh?
My apologies, fam. I've been I'm on 10.
Well, you look gorgeous. That skin be glowing. Thank you, love. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually explaining to them why we're discussing alopecia today, the four different types of alopecia. And I was saying that one of the reasons is a lot of times we'll hear women, you have your clients, or maybe a lot of times if it's a new client, they'll come into the salon and they're explaining their hair loss, and they'll say, "Oh, I have alopecia." And then when you let them talk and they kind of give you the history of their hair because you're doing the consultation, once that's done, you'll ask, well, the hairstylist will say, "Hey, when were you diagnosed? Did you have, what did the doctors recommend?" And they're like, "Oh, I wasn't diagnosed." "Oh, so you just saying, you just have alopecia because maybe they started losing their hair." So then that opens up the door for you to probe a little more and find out, is it actually alopecia, or was this bad practice, and you know what I mean, and you're just saying it's alopecia without a proper diagnosis, like a lot of us do, is WebMD, as I call it, right? So that's the reason why we're talking about alopecia, to give people a heads up, an education on what alopecia is. So one of the first alopecias that we have, and it's all going to go to, we're going to also tell you um, what steps you need to do to find out, and so on and so forth. But one of the things that I will say is that when alopecia areata, so alopecia areata is basically like little patches that form in on the scalp, and the scalp is pretty much clean. You know what I mean? So it just kind of you'll notice different patches around the hair, like they'll look like little circle patches. Also, just to let you guys know, I'm going to be adding some links in as well at the end of the live, so you guys can go ahead and look at the videos, and so you'll be able to see the pictures of women that are experiencing these different types of alopecia. Now, alopecia, about I start off too fast. Let me calm down. Alopecia is actually a immune. It's an autoimmune deficiency, and so what happens is that basically the body attacks the hair follicles, and so you'll see where you'll have hair loss at different stages. And like I just brought into is alopecia areata. That's where you have the patches amongst the hair, and the men have the same experience. They'll have different patches along the hair, right? That hair can actually be restored. Now, you don't want to just diagnose it as you see it and say, "Hey, I have alopecia areata." You always want to go to the doctor to confirm it, because you don't want to have something like that, and and it may be something more medical, and it's not just alopecia. So we don't want you to self-diagnose yourself just by what we're telling you. Okay. Now, And you guys can ask questions. You have questions on that, maybe experiencing some form of hair loss, and we can discuss that as well. The next form of hair loss is called alopecia totalis. And sometimes you'll see, you okay? What's that noise? Is that my line? I hear like a
Me?
buzz. Huh? That's weird. Yeah, I hear it on my side. That's weird. Okay. So, alopecia totalis is when you lose your hair on the scalp, all of your hair on the scalp. And this can be experienced between even children. And I'm going to tell you a story real quick where I experienced that, and it was really, really traumatic for me, guys. I had a young lady. I worked for, I don't know if you guys knew, for a few years. I worked for a hair club for men in North Carolina. Um, and at that time, when I came in, I started as just the hairstylist, hair replacement specialist. What happened in that is that I transitioned over to where I did so well with the women. I had a few women that they made me over the line for the women, which was cool. So we did little girls. Now kids under all the way up into the age, I believe, of 18, they get free hair systems. Okay. So this was a beautiful black girl, thick, long hair, y'all, and she was 15. Her sisters had long, thick hair. It was three sisters, and her mom had beautiful long hair. But the alopecia attacked her. But it was only at the time when I took her in, it was at the top of her head, right? So the crown of her head. So her mom was like, she didn't want to continue. Eventually, I left hair club and I transitioned over to the salon that I was in until I moved away from North Carolina. And her mom followed me there because she loved my work. So this particular time, the mom had, I don't know what they had. They had the system at the top, it was just a topper. And then she had thick long hair, so it just blends in. So the mom said, I think she's gonna need a new system. And I said, you sure? She was like, yeah. So it had all these like the thread, Don, the sewing thread. So whoever did it, they had added sewed hair everywhere. So they had the thread everywhere, like to hold the hair together. So I had ordered her a system,
Mm-hmm.
a full piece system. Long story short, as I was cutting the thread off, the hair just slid. It was the most traumatic
Wow.
thing for me because she was such a pretty, very humble girl, little girl or whatnot, and she was 15 years old, and I'm the hairstylist, and I had never had that happen. You know, and by the time they come to me, it's already gone. But this little girl, it was happening, Don. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of it slid off, all of it
Mm-hmm.
slid off, and it was one like bundle about this big, like a nickel size of her hair, thick, pretty hair. It just slid off, Don. I said, give me one moment. I had to walk away. And I would go in the bathroom and cry because I'm like, she was like, Miss Lee, is it all gone? Is it all gone? You could tell me. I was like, yes, baby. And she was like, I knew it. And that thing still bothered me to this day because I was like, dang, she 15, sweet, sweet spirit or whatever, and she's dealing with this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing when we're adults, but
Right.
when you're a kid, that's a whole nother thing to me. And it's, she in high school. I think
Yeah,
she
it's
was just
hard.
going
Mm-hmm.
to ninth grade. It's a lot that comes with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, long story short, we had to put the system on her hair, and she looked gorgeous. Thank God she had a pretty face or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But it was the trauma. I was traumatized at the fact that the hair just literally dawned, like slid off, and it was clean. Like you didn't even see follicles. So that was like something really, really heavy. So that would be alopecia totalis. In her case, it would be that because 97% of her hair was gone, and the only thing was left was like a strand of hair right, in the center of her head. So that's what that would be. Now, alopecia universalis is where you have no hair, no leg hair, no hair nowhere. You just,
Mm-hmm.
it just happens. You know what I mean? So you could be born with it, Do you think as Black women we are misdiagnosed with our hair issues? Hi, Jess. Who is this? Just me? Yes, I do think that a lot of times, and we're going to go into that, just me. But yeah, I definitely do, especially when it comes to it's a lot of times they put us in a bucket. They say, okay, oh, stop doing relaxers, stop, traction out, it's traction alopecia, CCA, and they just push you over into that. You know what I mean? And they do the regular things, and we'll go into that a little bit later on. But absolutely, I do think that we get diagnosed wrong a lot of times. I think that for my clients, I would tell them to go to get a second opinion, and a lot of times when they do the second opinion, it's a whole different ball game. Okay, so we'll get into that a little bit later on, but so universalis, that can happen to you. You can have a whole bunch of hair on your head, on your body, and everything, and the hair will just go away. It's the craziest thing. So I had a client like that as well, and that client, universalis, when they came to me, they said, "Oh, it comes in seasons." So I realized that even with areata, with alopecia totalis, that's only the scalp. You lose all the hair on your scalp. And then you have alopecia universalis. That's everywhere on your body. No eyebrows, no eyelashes, no hair, nowhere. So sometimes we will see somebody and think like, oh, they must be a cancer patient. And I'm like, they may not be a cancer patient. They may have that issue going on, that immune deficiency. And that's basically what it is. It's attacking, the immune system is attacking your hair follicles, right? Um, and so this was a guy who had the universalis, and he said to me that when he gets really stressed out, he doesn't have jobs where he gets really stressed out. And he was a architect, and he said when I get those type of jobs and I have to do, it was a Caucasian guy, and when I get under stress because you got deadlines and all these different things, my hair would just start coming off. Just like how the little girl was with slide off, the hair just come off. So he said it'll be like that until the hair grows back. And it's the same thing with areata. So you'll go in and you'll get diagnosed, and they'll say, "Hey, that's alopecia areata." And in that diagnosis, what happens is give you cortisone shots, but they'll give you cortisone shots, and how they find out what is going on with you, they normally do they either do a culture where they scrape the scalp, or the main one they do is a biopsy where they take a plug of your scalp and put it under and let you know what type of hair loss that you're experiencing. So and they do blood work as well. And then they'll come back with their different hair treatments. Some of the hair treatments, we'll go into that a little bit later. I'm going to hand it over to Don, so you can talk about so we talked about three so far. So we talked about alopecia areata. That's the patches that are along your hair. Next, we talked about alopecia totalis. If you're just tuning in, and that is when all of your hair on your scalp is gone. That's totalis. And then you have universalis. That's where you have no hair. You could be born that way because there are teenage girls, little girls that have no hair, men that are born that way and they don't have it, and their hair may come back. And then you have it to where they could have a head full of hair, and then as time goes on, they get older, it happens. All right, Don, you ready for me? You ready for us?
I'm ready.
All right, and what's next you want to talk about?
The eyelids.
Alopecia of the eyelids. Now, you mentioned this earlier, and I want people to know, even though I have been a hairstylist for now 26 years, I have never knew that there was I knew it was alopecia of the eyelids, but I thought it was pertaining to alopecia universalis. So can you please explain this to me one more time?
Alopecia is hair loss. So you could experience traction
Mm-hmm.
alopecia with from, we know we got traction alopecia from stress of on the scalp,
Right.
right? And when it comes to your eyelashes or your lids,
Okay.
right? Because if you're not uh,
I Mhm.
you're only supposed to apply the artificial lash to your middle lash. That's the law of lashes to your natural lash. When you're enhancing
Mhm.
your natural lash,
Right.
this is why we end up losing our can't I don't have any lashes. So a lot of times we see the loss of hair based on application and desired hairstyle and duration,
Right.
right? If you would just stop the process, stop the process and allow your scalp or your body to repair itself because the body does repair itself, right?
Right.
So if you allow it to repair itself, it can do that and you can preserve measures that you will have to stick with for the lifetime of your service, right? Because some I'm just not comfortable showing the world that my hair is bald, right? That's why we go in and
Mhm.
the necessary steps. No,
Mm.
no storm. Okay. When we are allergic to skin, the body is the body is going to react and tell you, let you know allergy medicine, and then that's why we have other things to treat our illnesses from a fungus
Mhm.
allergy to what I mean.
Right. Right. Mhm. Don, you
To
kind of
the
going in and
headache.
out. I don't know what that is. Is it raining up there? I see you. I heard you say I'm here. It's just kind of like blurry and in and out. Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
better.
Yeah. So I think in terms of alopecia, the
Mhm.
beginning stages of alopecia, and yes, we know, out of surgery. Um,
Oh, hold on, hold
right?
on. Just me. You
Hmm.
said, can
Hmm.
you hear me,
No
or
sound.
is it you said no sound? You can't hear either one of us. Keep going, Don.
I'm here.
It's not.
Okay.
Is that the
Can you
ocean in
hear
the
me?
background, girl? Wait a minute. I need to be up there where you at. Child, I'm not.
So, uh,
The good luck.
uh,
It's
it's
choppy.
choppy.
Is it both of us
Um,
that's choppy? Just me? Because I it's like I could see you blurry on my other one on my iPad
mhm.
as you talking. It was kind of in and out. Keep going, Don. Yeah.
Focus more on restoring and healing our bodies before
Oh yeah, for
dawn is
sure.
in and out.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. So
Thank you.
it makes the new phone under but yeah, I think the fact that we aren't
Did you
we
put it
need to
under
be
your
more
Wi-Fi?
aware.
I'm sorry, Don. Did you put it on the phone? Did you put it on under your Wi-Fi?
I believe so. I
Okay.
mean, I'm on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need Wi-Fi, and I'm just on. I just hit the link.
Okay. All right. We keep going. Keep going.
So, mhm. Yeah, that's it.
So that's
Repair.
so. So when it comes to traction alopecia, and Don talked about it somewhat. Um, you will know it's traction alopecia. We have a lot of videos on here. Don and I, we come here on Salon Talk every Sunday at 7 p.m. where we give information on hair care, on how to take care of your hair, keep it healthy, so on and so forth. So we have done talks about it. A lot of times that, and another reason why we're going into this is the fact that we do a lot of self-diagnosis. Y'all know we do, because I listen, especially with things that are going on. Like, child, let me just pull this up on WebMD and I'll know what it is. A lot of times, it is one of the most important things when you start seeing that you're experiencing hair loss. Now, there are normal reasons why you would experience hair loss that that's going to come back, and you may not need to be alerted unless it's coming out too much. And that's, of course, after you have a baby, you're going through postpartum, right? So you will experience hair loss, but that's a temporary thing that will come back. Now, I have had some clients that have experienced it where it was a lot that they were losing, and of course I recommend them to go to the doctor, and then come to find out they had other underlying issues going on. So it wasn't just that they were dealing with a temporary hair loss. A lot of times, the reason why we recommend you to go to a dermatologist, not a regular doctor, a dermatologist or a trichologist, is that we're not doctors, right? We're not doctors. Now, we can look at your scalp and tell you, hey, this is what this looks like, because over the years with the experience, we know and we have seen where I'm looking at it, and Don, it is some type of skin disorder or something like that that's going on with the
Hmm.
scalp, right? So
Hmm.
we can look at that and tell. But when it becomes over time, and I have seen this, ladies, over and over again, where you may have like a crust like scalp, right? Or
Hmm.
you'll say, oh, my scalp builds up dandruff, or I have an oily scalp, or these different things, and you just want a good wash and a treatment, and then you want to do the hair weaves or whatever, which is never good, because you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just doing the necessary thing, and I'm getting that scalp cleansed off and getting all of that dandruff or whatever it may be going on. But then when you put another hair extension on it and you never face and see what's going on with the scalp, it's the worst thing you could do, because what happens is over time, you're going to start losing, you'll see the hair start thinning because you did not treat the symptom when you saw it, right? So that's important to get the blood work that you need to be do. A lot of times it could be something you may be gaining weight, you may be losing weight, you may be start losing your hair. That could be thyroid. That could be a form, some type of your thyroid is going through some things, right? So you may have to be on thyroid medicine, or maybe you are on some form of medication. You experience hair loss. So all of these things, they're all going to route back to a dermatologist. Now, you guys have seen in videos that I have put where I tell you, and this goes back to just me when she asked the question about, do you think as a black women, we are misdiagnosed a lot? Yeah, we're definitely misdiagnosed a lot. And so one of the things that I always advise, I tell my clients, if they're black, I say, hey, if they're experiencing hair loss, a you may want to go to what is that? A dermatologist, right? But maybe one that that has a reputation, that understands our type of hair, you know, because sometimes I've had a lot of my clients, not I don't have a lot of clients losing hair, but the ones that I did, when I would refer them to a dermatologist, they would be frustrated because they were like, Lee, is something more going on, and they telling me just get cortisone shots. So when you see that they're not really, you know, that they're not asking, hey, let's do a biopsy, and they're saying, okay, do the biopsy, and they're having you, Don, read that for me as I explain, and you're having you, they say, okay, just do cortisone shots, and you don't see a difference, because a lot of times that happens. What I always suggest them to do is to either, once they have that blood work, because they're going to take the blood work for you to diagnose it, tell you what's going on. I always tell you to find a trichologist. The reason why, for me, and I've always had a good experience. All of my clients, even when I moved back here to Florida, y'all heard me talk about Miss Peggy, and where she's came on, and I've been to multiple dermatologists, where I have sent my clients to Miss Peggy up in Oakland Park. She's from the island, so she is more holistic, and she is more of natural, and people like that. They don't want to have to take pills and do all these different things. So she has like supplements and different things like that, but the hair does grow back, and she gives you the regimen so your hair can be restored. So it's more intimate. It's a private situation, I found, when you find a trichologist that is known to, especially if they look like us, they're really going to understand our hair, and they're going to understand the process. They're going to be able to look at your blood work and tell you, hey, based on this, your whole diet has to change. See, it's things that goes with this alopecia. It could be, is it really alopecia, or is it something else? So you don't know that. I'm about to go into the diet real quick. Don, did you read that? No. Okay. What's she talking about?
Autoimmune disorder.
Um,
So I don't really pills and all those things work. I'm a firm believer in natural medicine as a healing
mhm,
for our body.
mhm. Don, it's choppy. You going in and out. Um, yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Now you're
I'm
still.
still
Now- Yeah, now you're
okay.
moving.
I'm gonna read it out, just me, and I'm gonna ask you, while I'm reading it, what type of hair loss is it? Is it like, how is it coming out? Is it like patches, like alopecia areata? What did the doctor say? Because I'm gonna read it out loud. I've been to multiple dermatologists, and I ended up having to actually go to a rheumatologist, that's for
Rheumatologist.
arthritis and everything, right? Whom actually found
Hmm.
out that I had an autoimmune disorder that was causing the hair loss. Did they tell you what it was? What form of hair loss it was? Is it, if it's too personal? I'll leave my email. You can send me more information if you don't want to, share too much. That's fine. But I'm just curious on what it is and so on and so forth. Huh? Oh, okay. So it is doctor with CCCA.
PCC. Alopecia. Hmm.
Um, how did you feel about that diagnosis? Was it accurate? Have you been does it add up to it, or do you think it's something else? You will email me.
You
Okay.
said she'll
Okay, that's
email you.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to go into too much or whatever. And that's the other thing when it comes to hair loss, guys. That's why it's so weird today in 2025 when I see, huh? Uh-huh. It's so personal and intimate, right? And then when I hear the stories, it was accurate, got you. When I hear the stories about the hairstylist where you coming in there, you gotta wash your hair. That mean that they're not even looking at your scalp. They don't care or anything like that. I'm like, man, it gotta be rough because it's just me is not the only person that it has experienced. I've experienced hair loss, you know what I mean? And I have had to have somebody look at my hair or whatever. So I just couldn't imagine going into the salon for 2025 where we don't have really educated hairstylists, cosmetologists in there that know to say, hey, listen, I know you want this style, but based on your scalp, you wash your hair because you're not washing the hair, not using any personal products, you're actually going to bring more trauma to what's already on an ongoing situation that's going to cause more hair loss, right? Because now you're going in there, you don't have to wash your hair at home. Now you're going in there. Now you're going to get the hairstyle. You got to get the spritz on it. You got to put the stocking cap on the scalp. You got to, whatever, braid it down, whatever they do, all of the mess that they put in, all that alcohol and different things like that. So not only they're going to and put more towards your scalp and everything that's going to put it in more danger, but also you're not even going to be able to treat it. So now you got to keep that. Now the situation that you were just speaking about, you're trying to make sure, hey, is this the right diagnosis? What's going on? And the good thing though is the fact that, we're going to talk about it on the email, but the good thing is that it can be reversed. You have, one thing I've seen, I had a client, I promise y'all, I done talked about this in my video all the time. When I saw that lady, it was shiny. If I can't see hair follicles, I don't see those little dots, them little, I'm like, oh, those are buds. So when I can't see that, I'm like, oh Lord, that look like it's permanent. But see, I'm not a trichologist or a dermatologist. So I sent this young girl, she was, I won't say young, she was about 37. And Dawn, all she had was this back part, right? And she was like, the doctor told her it was permanent. It was a permanent hair loss. She had scarring and it was permanent, nothing she could do. And I was like, listen,
Mm.
I'm gonna send you over to Miss Peggy. And that lady, she know her stuff. She been a trichologist for over 20 years. She's strong in the game. She constantly gets education and stuff like that. And that lady called me. It was my first time doing that client. I sent her over to her. She came back to me. I had put like razor cut a wig, something like that. So she put on her head. She came back and maybe about 6 months later, Dawn, she had hair on her head, like a little afro. I said, 6 months later, she was like, yeah. She said the one thing that Peggy had told her, she said, listen, bring me your blood work. She got that blood work. She said, and this is what we're going into, and I'm glad I brought that up. She told her, bring her blood work. She was able to look at it and say, hey, based on this, based on your blood type, You ain't supposed to be eating chicken. You're not, you know what I'm saying? Your body is reacting. So she was able not to just look at the top of, look at the outside, but she was able to get inside the body based on that reading, being able to read that, and then telling her, this is the regimen we're gonna do. I need you to come every such and such, and I need you to stick to it. I need you to do this at home. And then when you come to me, we're gonna do it at home. You have to take these supplements. She said she put on a strict thing. She said, now if you want your hair, I promise you, you're gonna get your hair back. But if you don't really care and you like, you know what, I'll just wear wigs, then that's on you. But you have to be committed. And so I would say to anybody that's listening, if you are experiencing any form of hair loss and it has gotten to the point where you're like, you know what, I need to go see someone, I advise that whatever especially if you have to get a second diagnosis, they all off the rip say, okay, CCA, and you know what I mean, and you don't feel comfortable, and you don't think that's the right thing, get a second opinion, get a second opinion or ask for the blood work because they're going to do the blood work on you. And when they do that, if you can find a trichologist, they have them all over. You can go to, I think it's dermatologist.com, and you can find a dermatologist in your area or maybe maybe an hour away, unfortunately, but at least you can get the right diagnosis. I wish they had something for trichologists because I kind of like them because they're more intimate. But with that young lady and with a lot of them, I'm gonna add links, guys, so you can click on the links and you can see some of the doctors and what they're talking about. They were talking about how your diet, and Dawn talked about this last week about how she's changed her diet and exercise and things like that. And I know you think like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is very, very what's the word? It all goes together. It's like you can't have one without the other. That's basically what it is. So she was saying how gluten is something that affected hair loss. So she was saying like if you can eat foods that are gluten free, that helps as well. And we know about the other stuff like the avocados, the nuts, the beans, protein, those different things to help you along the way. But I'm telling you, your diet plus you getting the diagnosis, all of that stuff, you have to do it all as a whole. Okay. Now, Don, you got anything to say? Because I could just go with it. You good? Huh?
Work on repairing a system, maintain hair loss.
So what she's saying is it's always going to be a warning, like a storm. I'm sorry, Don, because you're I don't know why it's choppy like that. She's saying like it's always going to be a warning before you start, and you see that there's a hair loss. So your warnings can be breakage, the brittleness of your hair, dryness, the flakes on your scalp or the crust on your scalp. Those are your warnings, right? Or you'll see your hair thinning. Those are still your warnings, right? Then you'll see the bulbs lift up. That's another warning. So it's like we're getting warnings, right? We're getting warnings, but it is up to us. What we do with the warnings, I've seen the warnings where the bulbs have lifted up and it's starting to get thin around your edges. And what do? You say, right. So, right.
So
Can't hear you. So she's saying when we're talking about the bulb, ladies, and gentlemen, if you're on, when we're talking about the bulb, we're talking about the hair follicle. What happens is like a rise, you'll notice some little bumps. Those little bumps, right. What'd you say again? It's the hair shaft? Okay. Right, right. She's saying the bulb is the sac that the hair sits in. So when that raises up like that, that is a clear warning. It's like mayday, mayday. Now, I have seen where women have seen it raise up and they just kind of wash it and it brush away. And then because it's thinning there, instead of them saying your hairstylist saying, "Hey, this is the time you need to go see someone because now this is happening. We want to make sure it's no trauma or whatever, or maybe we can find something different for you, something where I don't have to." Right. But what I'm saying is that those are the warnings because I'm talking about your warnings that you were talking about. So when you're seeing that, that's where you need to say, you know what, I don't want anything tight. Let me find something else that I can do. Let's compromise. Can you help me find a hairstyle where I don't have to put no tension? Because this here, I remember on Salon Talk, Don and Coach Lee were talking about those bumps. So that's like a red flag that I need to
Mhm.
stop this. So those are the bulbs. Those are the hair follicles saying, "Hey, we coming to the finish line." And then this is something I want us as Black women to pay attention to. I always look at this. I love watching Eddie Murphy movies, right? Eddie Murphy had classic movies. And I loved it because he had some of the baddest women. We had Sunshine in there, Layla Rashawn. We had Halle Berry. We got the Robin Givens, and I'm looking at them, and they all had hair extensions in their hair. That was in the when the movies came out in the 90s? The movies came out in the 90s. Angela Bassett, Boys in the Hood. Say it again, Don.
With Eddie Murphy?
It's several of them. You got Harlem Nights,
Okay. Which movie you were talking?
Harlem Nights, Harlem Nights, and then you got Boomerang with Robin Givens. They're my movies, right? Classic, classy, classy. Eddie Murphy always brings class to the Black world, right? But one of the things I want to point out to you guys, if you don't pay attention, right? And I know y'all young and y'all like, child, my hair grow back. If you look at those same women that were in the movies that was wearing hair extensions, if you look at them today in 2025, they all got their edges. I'm just saying, they all have their edges. So there's a disconnect. You look at the Nia Long, Sanaa Lathan, Regina Hall. We can go on and on and on. They wore hair extensions. They still have their edges. So something is a disconnect. If you look at those women now today, they still have their edges. Why do are we having to do salon talk and talk about hair loss in 2025? What's the disconnect? What are you guys doing that's different from what they were doing? The Kardashians wear hair extensions. Beyonce been wearing hair extensions and lace fronts. She still got her edges. But for some reason, the edges, when we're doing hair now, we got to focus on edges because we're losing our edges. Our edges are thinning out. So
Mhm.
this show was done not just to educate. I wanted to educate you on alopecia. That's an autoimmune disease. That's traction alopecia also. But that traction alopecia, the difference between the autoimmune, that's something some people cannot help. But CCA is something that we did. But you don't have. And I'm not saying it to be Don. We can't hear you. I don't know if you're in the wrong spot. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is. Go ahead. That is CCCA. Right. It's inside. Go ahead. Right.
It's, through education.
Right.
The braids should not be tight. You shouldn't be applying all that tension on your hair. The extended hair. So if I only have
Yeah. So yeah, so Dawn is saying she's saying that if you have two strands of hair, there's no way you should be adding hair. Like I've seen where she's talking about where they be doing braids on top of on your hairline. So you don't even have a hairline that's out. The other thing is too, Don, and we talked about this, a lot of you are allergic to the braiding hair. You're allergic to the
right.
braiding hair. You braid the hair up in your hair head. You braid it up in there. My client, one of my clients right now, she still got it. And when I went to see her a couple of weeks, I think around the fourth, I went over there and she had breakage. I mean, not breakage, but she had all the back of her neck was swollen from her being allergic to the Canacolon hair. And her scalp was inflamed because her scalp builds so much oil. And I said, "Are you washing it?" "Oh, no, 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 because I don't want to mess up the braids." Y'all gotta we this is all part of this is what we are doing to our hair. This is I want you to understand. Don had said this long time ago, and I heard this when I was in school. Your hair, the skin is the largest part of your body. It's the biggest. It's the biggest. What you say it is, Don? Your skin is the biggest organ,
It's the largest
the
organ.
largest organ on your body. Yeah, but we won't take care of it. Just think about that. So you understand what I'm saying? I need you to get to that place. The purpose of salon talk is not to get on here and throw darts and say, "Oh, child, but look at my hair." No, it's to cause a change within us to let us see that what we're doing when we're not taking care of ourselves, when we're losing our hair, it says to people, "You don't care." That's no self love. That's no self love. There's no way we can continue to do the things we're doing and hear about CCCA and hear about the all these different chemicals and how it affects us and still do it. We're the ones that's doing it. And I brought out alopecia as a form to let you know that's a medical issue. There are tons, you hear me say it all the time. There are lots, millions of women that are dealing with medical issues and why they're experiencing hair loss. But when it comes to our culture, when it comes to the Black woman, I'm telling you, we are not, a lot of us are not losing hair because of medical. We're losing it because of that CCCA. We are doing bad practices. I'm going to say this, and the young lady came at me and I told her what it was. Yeah, bad beauty practices, bad products, bad beauty practices, lack of knowledge, lack of, you know what I mean? All those things. When it comes to our hairstylists, we have lack of education. We don't want to learn. We are, a lot of us, I could tell you this growing up in Miami, Don knows this. I don't know how I knew how to braid hair, but I know how to braid hair. I didn't know how I knew how to cut hair. You know, I had a sense I knew how to style hair, right? That comes natural. And a lot of us are going to people that do things because that's a gift. God said he give the gift without repentance. So all of us got the gifts, right? We got different gifts. So we're going to people and we're magnifying the gift. We're magnifying the manifestation of what they're able to do, the creativity part. But what we're not magnifying, which is one of the most important things, Don fell off. What we're not magnifying is the fact that those people that you're going to that has those creative, beautiful gifts, they do not have the skill set to help you take care of your hair. They do not have the education. I had a young lady on TikTok, I responded to her. I got so many likes on it. She said, it's a way now, like she discovered something. I'm like, that's been going on for years. The certificate, the certifications that you can get to be a shampoo person, or you don't have to go, you can get your license to be a braider. We already know that. You can get a license to do everything except anything chemical, right? And I said to her, it's good that you're putting people on, right? But to me, if you can, get your cosmetology license, because we got too many recycled people coming through the doors with hair loss at young ages. I sent a video to a friend of mine, a little girl 2 years old with a lace front wig. They had to hold her down while she crying because they putting the thing on. You don't even know how to lay the lace front on this baby from all the way to the front, Don, all the way back. Adhesive all on that. I said the baby ain't even formed a strong hair follicle. But we are destroyed, whether y'all want to believe it or not. We are destroying our hair because we have been taught, like that little girl at 2 years old with a lace front, a blonde lace front on this baby hair with gold streaks in it. All right. From 2 years old, that your hair is not beautiful. You are not beautiful. So we rather do that and put an adhesive that we don't know where that adhesive is. We don't know where that comes from, the corner store, down at Alibaba, right? We putting that on our children and ourselves. So I just want people to understand and to what is the purpose of this, because you're going to be the person in the line as years go on. Talking about you got alopecia, you have a form of alopecia, but it's not the medical. It is CCCA, and you have that because of the simple fact, which is traction alopecia, right? Which is chemicals to your hair. You have that because of the bad practices. Don even talking about relaxers. She said, I wouldn't recommend you do relaxers, right? She definitely wouldn't recommend it because we know about the class action lawsuit. But it wasn't the actual relaxer that was the problem. What it was is the application. Because y'all know at home we did relaxers. Go on down the street and get that PCJ, honey. They got PCJ on sale. Or what the African Pride? In my days, it was African Pride. Go down there, get the
Yeah.
African
Dark
Pride,
and lovely.
huh?
And dark and lovely.
And dark and lovely. And give me a rinse too. Get your mama a rinse. I had to get my mama her rinse, her blue black, right? Give me that blue black rinse, right? We already know the game. It's cheaper here than to go to Miss, we had an old school lady, Miss Mildred, over there in the city off of 54.
Right.
That's who did my hair. But
Mhm.
we did that, right? And look at the outcome of it. Now we got women in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 40s. That was on to the game. The curly perms that they call a Gina curl, now it's a curly perm. All of this stuff that we're doing. And we got to get to a place where we care about ourselves. Nobody else is going to take care of you. Nobody's going to take care of you like you're going to take care of yourself. Taking care of your hair, finding out the issues of your hair is showing yourself self-love. It's teaching you how to love yourself, ladies. I know you don't really believe that, but it is. Getting up in the morning, taking care of your skin. You see Dawn's skin glowing like that, taking care of your skin, putting the right products on your
Thank
skin.
you.
Yes, those
Mhm.
things matter. Some of us are single. You want somebody to want you. They want to want you, but nobody wants somebody that don't even care about themselves. They don't care about their appearance. Now you may be thinking you make it people not paying attention to the bald spots in your head or the fact that you every week you got a lace front or whatever. You may think that people are not paying attention, but they are. You may think that people are not paying attention when you run to the store and say, "Oh, child, she just run to the store because you got the bonnet on your head, the bonnet, mafia bonnets on your head, the mafia people." You may think that nobody's paying attention, but they're paying attention. They're paying attention. And you may be a person that say, "I don't care about what people think about me as long as I care about myself." But you don't. You don't. And I hate to sound so harsh, but I'm so tired of seeing this recycled thing. I had a client come here this weekend that I had to take care of her hair. I'm doing some videos this week on what's going on with that. And beautiful long hair. That girl has so thin now because she
Mhm.
travels and she's in the industry. And she's like, I go to these girls, Lee, they don't even know how to cut weave, but they're natural hairstylists. They're the ones that the girls say, honey, you can get a 1-day course and you got your license. And yeah, they can sew that hair in there. They can't even cut it to make it look natural. So we were all walking around here looking like characters. A lot of us walking around here looking like
That's just like
characters.
a shortcut.
Huh?
Um, in the beauty industry, and that's one of the shortcuts when that people took to get into the beauty industry, because the beauty industry is
Right.
licensed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the state board, they let them in. Now there's no longer required for the state of Florida to have a valid braiding license. So
Right.
now you can actually, just go into the salon, and so there's no code of ethics that they have to serve the public, to get your money. There's nothing, on, or a salon suite and collect the money. No one holds them liable, so they don't have to take a sanitation and sterilization
Mm.
class. There's no need to adhere to any code of ethics. So I can now put this relaxer in. I know I need to be licensed, but the consumer or in this particular, right? So the consumer doesn't know that this person that's doing my natural hair is certified or licensed or whatever by the state, because they're doing business and they're operating and servicing the public. So the public is not aware that this person is, not certified to perform such service. There's
Don.
nobody to hold them accountable. Yeah.
Don. You know what I miss? I wish I could be her. Remember Tabitha? Remember Tabitha used to go to the salons? Girl, I wish I could be the Black Tabitha. When you can go into them salons and be like, what is this? They got all kind of things, and she make them shut it down. Oh, if I could do that. Oh my God, put me on TV and walk in there and be like, where your license
Yeah.
at, baby? Why are you doing the Kim? Like, what is this? Show me how to apply a color, a service. Go ahead and do the color service. How do you do the consultation? She made those salons pull themselves up. Even the salon suites, walk up in there. What you doing? Let the consumer be there so they can see and understand. Listen, no accountability. And that is the major issue.
Yeah.
And that's why we will continue to do
Mhm.
these lives every Sunday, salon talk, at 7 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, to educate you guys.
Mhm.
And I had a guy friend that said, girl, and they come into and when I do my videos during the week, they'll say, them women ain't listening. They don't even want to hear about it. I've had people say you barking up the wrong tree, but I beg to differ.
Mhm.
If we can
Mhm.
get one person to be like, you know what, let me take care of what I got. If we can get one person
Right.
to come in and say, "Hey, I
Mhm.
made some changes. I stopped going to this person." And I have had women that come on my videos in the comments and tell me, "Hey, I did this, this, and this, and now my hair is going back."
Mhm.
We appreciate you too, just me. And I'm gonna leave my email,
Thank you.
okay? But if we could just have, if I could just see when I see that during as the weeks go on, I don't care. I don't care about it's 10 views. I'm
Mhm.
doing my part. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Right. So that's what it is.
Well, I thank you for this platform.
Oh no, I thank you for your expertise, Miss Dawn. You know what I want to say,
Likewise,
Ferguson.
lady.
Now, Don will not be with us next week. I was hoping though, Don, if you can get somebody to video you, because I know you got your thing going on, and you can send it to me
I
and I
think
can upload it. Yeah, at your
um
event.
I think I can. It's Sunday at 7.
Yes, Sunday at 7. But no, I'm just saying just your video period. I can upload it as a short or something like that, showing your stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, you know how we'll work that out. But I
Oh,
thought about
mhm,
that as
mhm.
well. Don has an event. Do you want to talk about the event or is it you good?
Um, it's just a beauty retreat at in Naples, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Next weekend. It's our 15th annual, and we're actually moving next year to the PGA. It's a black owned resort, so we're excited about that. Yeah, we're looking forward to a upgrade
Big
because
things.
a lot of the customers were asking. They were looking for something a little bit different. They've been, we've serviced over, oh my God, I think quite a few
Mm-hmm.
people over the course of 15 years, So we've kicked off the HBCU Golf Classic, which is held there. So, we're pretty
Wow.
excited
Mm-hmm.
um about the event. And next year is going to be focused more on wellness. So it's going to
Mm,
be, restorations. They have some great spas at the PGA
mm-hmm.
and great food. So it's a great opportunity to come out and relax. We have some really great rates. Um, so I'm excited and looking forward
Yeah.
to
I wish I could.
networking and
It,
reconnecting with some amazing people.
right. So it's going to be from the 18th to the 20th, right? Next week.
18th through 20th,
8 to the
yes.
20th. So Don will not be here. I will still be doing the live because the show,
Mhm.
we got the show, do the show every week. So I will still do the live, but I hope that we can get some just
But I'll find
make,
a way to chime in.
oh, if that
I'll
would be
make
so
myself
nice.
available. Okay.
That would be so. But if not, we understand. All right. Don. Now, now at the end, it ain't no choppiness. It ain't no break. It ain't no nothing. You just clear. It's just flowing. I tell you, they don't want us to be great, but we already great.
But this says 12 minutes, so I think it cut us off as we started back because my time here is saying 12. We only been on for 12 minutes.
No, you turned off. You turned off. I
Oh,
was still
okay.
talking and it showed you blacked out. I told him, I said, Don went
Okay.
off, and then you came back. So
No,
we
but
are,
it only showed you off. It showed you off on this end.
I don't know why. I was still going. I was still talking. But ladies,
Okay.
we will see you guys next week. Hopefully, Dawn will be able to join us 7 p.m. Salon
Yep.
Talk. We love you to pieces. Please like, share, subscribe,
Mhm.
and we will see you guys next week, Sunday, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.